from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute.
A group of Henrico parents is urging the school system to implement a full 5-day school plan beginning in the fall. And what we've learned about the involvement of Henrico Police in providing mutual aid to the city of Richmond during recent protests. That's coming up on today's Henrico News Minute for Wednesday, June 23rd, 2020. It's brought to you today by Humana.
And now for the news.
The Henrico Division of Police has been assisting the City of Richmond's police department during recent daily protests and rallies in the city through a mutual aid agreement that the two localities share. But Henrico police officials don't have any record of how many hours their officers have spent on duty in the city or how much that service is costing the county, a Henrico police spokesman told The Citizen. That's because the division does not typically compile such data, according to Henrico Police Lieutenant A.M. Robertson. The Citizen requested both sets of data, but the Virginia Freedom of Information Act doesn't require government agencies to compile data that doesn't already exist. Earlier this month, Verina District Supervisor Tyrone Nelson called for the county to remove its officers from Richmond if they were engaging in any tear gassing actions of protesters or other similar responses. On Monday of this week, Nelson posted on Twitter that Henrico Police Chief Hum Cardinal told him that Henrico officers had not participated in Richmond in more than a week. That timeline would mean that the last time Henrico officers were involved was June 14th and 15th, when several were among a line of officers protecting the Richmond Police headquarters. On June 1st, Robertson told The Citizen that Henrico officers had been involved with the initial 3 nights of protests in Richmond, May 29th through 31st. He declined The Citizen's request to provide the number of officers involved, however. It's unclear whether Henrico officers were involved every day until June 15th or not. Well, there were 3 topics on the agenda at last night's Henrico Board of Supervisors-School Board joint work session at Glen Allen High School, but only one of those topics brought several dozen county residents out to watch. Many of those who came held signs imploring school system officials to implement a full return to school when the new school year begins September 8th. During the meeting, Henrico Superintendent Amy Cashwell told board members that while she and others would like school to return to normal as soon as possible, they are planning to follow the school reopening guidelines established by the Virginia Department of Education, which outline in more than 130 detailed pages the safety and social distancing protocol school systems statewide must demonstrate before reopening. Cashwell said, quote, "No one misses our students more than we do. There's nothing we want more than to have our students back in our school buildings," end quote. But according to Assistant Henrico County Attorney Megan Watkins, adhering to the guidelines set by the state is the most sound legal position for the school system. The insinuation there is that deviating from those plans could leave the system or county vulnerable to liability lawsuits if students, employees, or others suffer serious medical complications or die from COVID-19. Now, today, the school system is sending out a survey to seek input from stakeholders in the system about their thoughts for what a return to school should look like. Cashwell has indicated that the survey will be open for about 10 days, and officials will use the results to begin narrowing their focus about what the return to school might look like in the county. A subsequent survey will be sent out later this summer, asking parents and families to commit to either sending their students back to school or keeping them home to learn virtually. Right now, the school system is tentatively considering 3 plans for those who choose to return to school in person. Each would divide students into one of 2 groups, which would then take turns learning in school and virtually. Under one plan, students would alternate days in school and out between Tuesday and Friday. In another plan, one group would attend school Tuesday through Friday in person while the other learned at home, and then they'd switch the following week. And in the other plan, one group of students would attend school in the mornings, Tuesday through Friday, while the other would attend during the afternoons. Mondays would be reserved for a half-day teacher workday and also a half-day of extra support for students who need it. Other students would be learning virtually. You can read much more about last night's meeting and this topic on henricocitizen.com by clicking under Education. Also last night, several Henrico County public school students and one graduate of HCPS shared their experiences with racism in an online forum organized by the school system. You can read complete details in our article right now on henricocitizen.com by clicking on education. One Black Hermitage High School student said he fears not only racist commentary or threats from fellow students, but also fears school resource officers. He said in his experience, the SROs do not work to build relationships and at times threaten to use pepper spray on students to discipline them. For the second straight year, Henrico County has canceled its Red, White, and Lights 4th of July event, which had been scheduled at Dory Park. Officials made the decision to cancel yesterday in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. This was to be the third year of the event at Dory Park, but instead only the first year actually took place. Last year's event was rained out. Officials with the county's Division of Recreation and Parks determined that the current guidelines for public events in the state would have made it impossible to safely hold the celebration, which has attracted as many as 20,000 people in the past. In lieu of the event, the county will present patriotic displays July 1st through 5th at Dory Park and also at Meadow Farm Museum at Crump Park in Glen Allen. Those will feature 70 flags, artwork, and a sand sculpture that will be built on site beginning on June 27th. Beginning today, Fairfield and Tuckahoe libraries are open to the public during limited hours. The buildings will both be open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday and from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Fairfield also will open from 1 to 5 p.m. on Sundays. Library programs will remain online, but Tuckahoe and Fairfield meeting and study rooms will be available to reserve beginning today with reduced capacities. Library officials say that additional locations will open soon. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam announced yesterday that the state will begin Phase 3 of its reopening on Wednesday, July 1st. That's a week from today. Data from Phase 2, which has been ongoing for nearly a month in most parts of the state, gave Northam and state officials the confidence to begin Phase 3, he said. As part of Phase 3, social gatherings will allow up to 250 people, and restaurants and retailers will be able to open at full capacity. Gyms and fitness centers will operate at 75% capacity, so will swimming pools. Other venues like entertainment and amusement parks will be restricted to operating at 50% capacity or a maximum of 1,000 people. Today's Henrico News Minute has been brought to you by Humana. Turning 65 and have questions about Medicare? Humana can help. Call licensed sales agent Eric Jones at 804-253-0056 to learn more.